Hello, it's Lois here from Lois and Morgana Davidson Art. Welcome to my studio again. I've just been trying out some new ideas, and one of them was this misty snow scene. It was a bit of an experiment, and some things have worked and some things haven't. But this is what I do when I'm in the studio. I play around with ideas, and I really don't mind if I don't end up with a finished painting or if things go wrong. What's more important is to try to discover new things, to learn how to achieve certain effects, and above all, just to have fun and sort of continue with my progress through experimentation, trial and error. Unless I'm experimenting in a spontaneous way, I usually start off with a rough sketch and a rough idea of what I'm looking to achieve. And in this case, it was sort of a sunset scene, a snowy scene, a river, some trees, and but some sort of mist rising from the river, mid-ground to distance. So that's what I was aiming for, and I decided to try a limited palette of Payne's Grey, lavender and burnt sienna. I often film these experiments, then I can look back and I can see where things went wrong or see where things went right, even if I've covered them up towards the end. And that's an important part of my learning process. I've spread the process up because these experiments take a lot longer than demos, because obviously there's lots of trial and error, lots of trying different things out and then having to sort of correct mistakes or trying to get an effect, not quite achieving it and trying again. So I hope you'll enjoy watching how I experiment wet in wet and then wet on dry to finish the painting off. And I hope you'll have a go at something similar yourself. I'll play some music now and I'll come back at the end and tell you what I thought and what I thought worked and what I thought didn't and what I got out of this experimental session in the studio. So that's all I'm going to do on this experiment. You can see the last thing I did was I used a bit of white gouache just to lighten up the reflection in the river a little. And I think that now I can analyse the painting. Parts have worked and parts haven't worked as well. I'm pleased with the trees, all of them. I think they work really nicely, especially where I've blurred them out in the middle in the distance, where I've just tried to create that look of mist. I think the lavender and burnt sienna combo works quite well, but I want to replace the burnt sienna with a better orange at some point for these sorts of scenes. I'm really liking the values. I think they work okay. I think the reflections look all right, but they got completely overworked and I needed to put in some white gouache just to bring back that light. I think I might be better off using a different paper next time I paint this. This is Saunders Waterford and it doesn't lift as well as something like a Milford paper or a Bockingford. Something like that lifts a lot better back to the white paper. So I've learnt that today. So I hope you enjoyed this sort of fly on the wall look at one of my experimental sessions in the studio. And this is how I find out what's going to work and what isn't going to work. And it's a really important part of the process. Without this, then most of my paintings would fail. But having done all of this experimentation, I can move forward and probably paint something similar but with a lot more success, putting into practice everything that I've learned that works, but also really bearing in mind the things that didn't work and trying to find ways around them. And I hope this will encourage you to get in the studio and to play around and experiment and actually really look forward to seeing what works and what doesn't, what goes wrong and what works out, because that's the way that you'll be able to learn and move on and refine your work. Thank you so much for watching. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And thank you so much to everyone that supports the channel on Patreon. We really do appreciate you. And if you'd like to support the channel, then please click on Morgana's link or mine below. I'm off to go and have a cup of tea and to relax after a long session in the studio. So I'll see you again soon.